topic. That is what happens. So, we were talking about dating with real self. Real self. Uh, Normally, the word is used, the dating word is used, date with a boyfriend or girlfriend. So here, Eastern wisdom teaches us to date with the real self. So whenever we date, we think, isn't it? We think about a boyfriend, we think about a girlfriend. Why not start thinking about the real self? So the word used in Eastern wisdom is known as satsang. What is satsang? Satsang. Sat means truth and sang means attachment. Basically, it is attachment. Company is different, but sangha, asanga. So, how to get attached to it? By thinking. After all, we are meeting every week. There is a sang. That is why you open your session with me. So, we should think about real self in the mind. That is the beginning of the step one of the 40 steps. I'm just laying a foundation and intro. So, when we say dating, let us find out to have a date with the one that cannot be divided. One. That is of the nature of permanent peace. Two. That is of the nature of permanent happiness. Three. That cannot be falsified. Means you cannot prove it that it is false. You can prove you have a noise at a particular place at a particular time that is causing the disturbances. But you cannot say that this noise is 24 by 7. It is present in time, it is present in place, hence, it can be falsified. So, why not have a date with our real self? Now, some people, great philosophers, genius, they reject the material world and they say there is only a spiritual world. There are people. But there are other people who are atheists. They don't believe in the spiritual world and they say material world is true. But can you negate, reject, falsify that I am not? Can you say I am not? The moment you say I am not, it means there is you are who says I am not. Do you see that? When you think, okay, let me think I am not. So, after all, there is one inside you who is present, and then the mind thinks I am not. So, you cannot falsify. Do you understand that? You cannot falsify I am. Are you understanding? You cannot falsify I am. Even if your mind thinks I am not, so it means you are. And that is, you are thinking that I am not. You are speaking that I am not. So, the journey of the Eastern wisdom begins. I am is always there. I am is there in the pain. I am is there in the suffering. I am there in the pleasure. I am there in the relationship. I am there not in relationship. Are you clear? So the journey of the Eastern wisdom begins. Who am I? Who am I? So there are some people who claim that I am the body. Other people claim I am the sense organs because they are obsessed with the sensual pleasure or sensual pain. In your case, it is sensual pain. It comes from the sense organ. So you claim that you are the sense organ. Some people claim I am the body. Some people claim that I am the mind. Others claim, you see that. Some people claim I'm European. Others say I'm American. I'm Indian. I'm a householder. I'm a teacher. I'm rich. I'm poor. But who is this I am? Who is this I am? So we should start thinking in that way who this I am is. That is the entire discovery. And that I am cannot be falsified. And if you say, this is me, this is I am, in stress, that can be falsified easily. Why? You are not in stress 24 by 7. You're not in stress when you are in deep sleep. That can be falsified. So when you say, I am in stress or I am stressed, it means what it means? That this can be falsified. And what is falsified is not you. Let me think in that way. Start thinking in that way. The entire knowledge that we receive starts from the thinking, isn't it? See that? It starts from the thinking. Fundamental. Who is this? This is a beautiful girl. Who is this? This is my father. You see? Thought process. So the same thought process says I'm American, I'm East European, I am Indian, I am rich, I am poor, I am stressed. They all can be falsified. So, what cannot be falsified? Let us examine. That real self is present in the waking state, behind the waking, present in the sleep state, behind the sleep, present in the dream state, behind the dream. Because if I am is not present in the sleep, then what happens? No more waking. And then somebody, our friends, will take our body to the cremation ground. So it means I am present there. Here, I am present there. So that I am cannot be falsified. So that I am is beyond hell and heaven. That I am is beyond all the objects of the senses. The object, sound for the ears, sight for the eyes, taste for the tongue, and so on. So, what is the problem? The problem is that we do not know who is living within and behind the five sense organs, beyond the body and the mind and the sense organs. Is it clear to you? So we are just exploring. So what happens when we date with the Eastern wisdom? If I say dating with the real self, is the dating with the Eastern wisdom, the knowledge part. So when we date with the Eastern wisdom, with the principles, with the teacher, then what happens? Because we are able to change our thinking that is dictated by the wrong notions and the wrong ideas. Huh? When they change, we purify the heart and we purify the mind. Let us search. That search begins with the Eastern wisdom when we dating, you're constantly thinking. When you date with someone, what happens? Your mind thinks, and then your heart brings that emotion, isn't it? I love you. I'm attached. But I'm attached is thought, but you are adding a spice of emotion. That is what I'm saying, dating with the real self. Dating with the real self. I told you, it has to start with the thinking in a right direction. Thinking in a right direction means I'm dating, I want to date with that real self, cannot be falsified, cannot be divided, of the nature of permanent peace, happiness, love, and wisdom. So now we start asking. Let us explore and search. Am I my ears or am different from the ears? I am definitely different from the ears. Ears are instruments, they are sense organs. I am not the sense organ. So, whatever the objects that enters into this ears is not me. Sometime I hear the noise, sometime I don't hear the noise. Hence, I am not there in the sense organ. Ask yourself, some people accumulate lot of wealth. So we have to ask ourselves, why is wealth permanent? I my some habits dictate me. Am I the slave of the habit? Does the habit bring that permanent peace and happiness? The answer is no. The wealth can bring the permanent peace and happiness. The answer is no. And then I start thinking, this guy is causing a problem to me without understanding. This noise is causing a problem without understanding. Am I following a right path? So here, the master says when you date with the real self means you are dating with the Eastern wisdom and its principles to understand. Dating. Mind, head to the heart. Head and the heart go together with the thoughts and get attached to someone. That is what the dating is. So here, the head says real self. I want to know I am. And it pours the emotion in the heart. I'm attached to real self. Don't get attached to the noise. Don't get attached to that is not permanent, that can be falsified. How simple it is. I start thinking about it. So, the dating with the Eastern wisdom means that the head and the heart should go together and it should lead to the physical well being. It should have a right thought, right speech, right action. Our sense organs should be balanced. We should be free from ego. The mind should follow the calmness and relaxation. I am stressed. Let me change the thinking. Let me follow relaxation. This guy is causing a problem. We will talk about that little later. This object is causing a problem. This object is causing a problem. We'll talk a little later. But first is dating with the real self. You wake up in the morning. Yes, that real self is present behind the sense organs and the mind and the intellect and the ego, which is of the nature of permanent happiness, love, and with. That is what we do when we are stressed. I'm stressed because of you. You see that? That is what we think, isn't it? By thinking, we get a knowledge that you are the cause of my stress. So I'm simply saying change your thinking pattern. I'm not saying anything different. You think. So think, I am saying, think in this way. Huh? Think in this way. That is dating. You start the dating. So this dating has two elements. The head thinks and the heart brings that emotion, and that brings an attachment. Attachment to the real self is the only original attachment, is worth pursuit. What happens? The moment you are attached to the real self, what happens? You are attached to the real self. It brings an end to the suffering. Not only it helps you to awaken to inner peace and happiness, but it also brings the peace in environment. Teacher is just like acting as a medicine, as a medication. Why we are acting like a medication as a teacher? Why? Because that medication brings a detachment, discernment, dispassion, clarity, conviction. So, when all these elements are present in the mind, there is a natural outflow of the peace and happiness in our life. So, dating with the Eastern wisdom or dating with the real self helps us to remove the delusion. That is why we need to listen to it again and again. Now, coming to what we have been talking about attachment, about detachment. So, attachment and detachment. I like someone. If I say you are a wonderful person, every day I say to you. So, what happens? Your mind by default creates a liking for it because our ego demands appreciation and praise. Then what happens? Then you get some sort of attachment because of appreciation, because of the praise. Now reverse this. I don't like this thing or an object, so it creates huh, detachment. Detachment, what is known as dvesha. So, what has happened? That is the way to think. So, when I'm attached to you, it means I color emotion, feeling in my heart towards you. Element is liking. So, I feel little bit upset when you are not present. I feel very good when you are present. Am I right? Understand this. So the head and the heart. The head should think and think rightly. Dating with our real self. And from there, and if dating with the real self, the thoughts are filled with the emotion, get attached to the real self, there is nothing to fear. Now, if we get attached to any object outside, object or a person outside, I have seen for the last 40 years, huh? Some people, couple, a young boy and a girl comes to me. They say, we have been dating. We have been understanding. After 6 months, they say, now we have understood. He is my soulmate. She is my soulmate. And after 6 months, they got married. And after another 6 months, they say, we have lot of problem. And sometimes they blame me. You told me to get married. What I'm getting? I don't get anything. When you tell me that they are your soulmate, you have already made a decision. What should I say in that decision? So I said, go ahead. Now, see why I gave that example. Dating with the real self alone can bring the permanent peace and happiness. Dating with anything, any person that is constantly changing, what will happen? First, there is a like, then there is a dislike. There is an attachment, then there is an detachment. So, that detachment causes the anger and the anxiety. Attachment causes the obsession in the mind. So, when you remove that, keep that, when you start thinking rightly, oh, let me have a date with the real self only. My mind is dating with the noise that is causing a disturbance. That is also dating. My mind is attached with this sound. I like it. It gives me pleasure. That is also dating. Now think why I am attached, why I am detached. Detachment brings the anxiety. So you are thinking only the noise and the anxiety. Behind that noise and the anxiety relationship, your mind is not going little deeper down. That what is that cause? Cause is the I hate this noise. I don't want to be with this noise. That is what we say. I don't want to live with you. When I met you, you were my soulmate. Now you are my sourmate. Let me divorce you. So very divorce is a painful experience. It is due to the detachment. What is the soulmate? It is due to the attachment. So, so what we did, we color our heart with the likes and dislikes. Emotion is emotion, but thought coming from the head going down into the heart. Color. What is that color? We color with the likes, we color with the dislikes. So when you color with the dislike, who colors? Your own mind. Who gets hurt? Your own mind. Why? Because of the thought with an object. And that object or a person is not permanent, is constantly changing, can be falsified. Hence, our thinking process has gone wrong. That is why we need a teacher in the Eastern wisdom to explain these things. You see, the entire process, I'm making everything very clear and simple. So, what we do, we color our heart with raga and dvesha. We color our heart with attachment and detachment. That goes unconsciously and it becomes a habit. But why? Now question comes, but why? So the master gives an answers. That due to the sense of incompleteness, I feel the sense of emptiness within. There are 2 points. If I'm aware, if I'm alert, first I will explore what is that sense of incompleteness in me that I told you couple of times. You are not able to discover and explore. Even if I know it, I only want you to explore. That will make a change in your life. Even if the very sense of emptiness, the hollowness is inside. And from there, the thought lives at the subconscious level that there is a sense of incompleteness. And then the mind starts running outside with the likes and dislikes in outside, with an object, with a person, with a thing. Continue this journey. So there is a sense of incompleteness. Now, see, because of the sense of incompleteness, thought is there, and now it has added spice of emotion. So that sense of incompleteness in the mind goes outside when it is attached to something. When it wants something, it gets attached. When it wants to get away from something, there is a sense of detachment. Are you getting it? First, what is important? To explore and understand there is a hollowness, there is a sense of incompleteness, not only in my thought, but also in my heart. That sense of incompleteness again goes to the head, creates a thought, goes outside. I want this thing, causes attachment. I hate this thing. I don't want this thing, causes detachment. Attachment or detachment, or the reaction to anything outside is coming from that hollowness, coloring the mind and the heart, then going out. Then it says, makes a statement, whether it is attachment or whether it is detachment. Now, see, our masters again speak one thing very beautiful. You put a fire on a wood. What happens? First, the fire burns the wood, and then the wood burns other objects. Are you getting it? First, there is a log of wood. You put a fire. So, first, that wood starts burning. And whatever is near uh, is also get burnt. Right? The same way, when we live with attachment and detachment, first it burns our heart and then it starts burning people all around. First it burns in you. First it creates a reaction in you. First it creates an anxiety in you. First it creates an obsession in you. And then you start looking at those objects and that creates more problem. Again, I'm repeating, dating with the real self is the only solution in my life. Your hollowness inside, emptiness inside can easily be removed if you start dating with the real self. That's why I'm deliberately, intentionally using the word what? Dating. How to get started? I have told you, I have already given the answer, but let us understand little deeper. First, we should become aware of our thought. Any thought, any thought that is causing, what is that? Any thought that is causing attachment or detachment, anxiety or reaction. How is it not? Is it difficult? No. I have a crazy thought about you, so I just become aware of it. I have a crazy thought about the noise, I become aware of it. Is it difficult? But what is becoming a difficult in your life? That you know this thought is causing a problem, you don't become aware. The moment you become aware of the thought, that thought will be separated from you. One way, one process. Other process, the moment say, I am stressed. Oh, this is the thought. Let me find out why I am stressed, from where this thought has come. And I told you before, every thought is nothing but, do you remember, is an object plus I am. Do you remember? Every thought is nothing but object plus I am. Do I know who I am? No. Do I know the very nature of an object? No. So, what is the result? The delusion is the result. And in that delusion, attachment and detachment works at the peak level, and that results into attachment results into obsession and greed, and detachment results into anxiety, reaction, and stress. Are you getting it? So now continue further. This attachment and detachment brings our entire life down. Entire life down. Not this is not a one fraction, one part of the life. The raga and the dvesha, attachment and detachment, becomes our habit, our obsession, our impulse, our reaction, our anxiety, our greed, our habit. It penetrates into every cell of the body. That is why I started that it is dating with the real self. Mind says, no, I will date with the noise that disturbs me. I date with the guy. I have a clinical therapist. I told you she has been my student for 2 or 3 sessions only. And she said that I love my honey who is addicted to marijuana. What do you mean by love? You are obsessed, you are attached with it, you will continue to suffer. Why don't you take a right decision? You understand? That is the we don't want to change the thinking. I'm in love with you, so I will remain in love with you even if you kill me. That is what happens. I love sugar. So then what happens? I love sugar, sweet, dessert, and after 50, I suffer from diabetes. The same sugar becomes a poison. I give you $1 million if you continue to listen to this noise every day without any stress. Now you have a smile on the face. You may say no, but I can understand the attraction of the wealth. I have told this to many people. Where they are, there is a clinging. Where there is a reaction. You live with this girl, I pay you $5 million, which he wants to divorce. And then he told me, yeah, it is possible. I will remain detached with this girl, even living with her. I said, why don't you do it now without 5 million? Why you want to depend on another attachment? Every attachment in detachment causes the problem. Why don't you date with the real self? Why don't you date with the real self? You see the point? That is how we should start thinking. So there are we can say there are two ways to understand this attachment and detachment. Normally, our master says that this attachment and detachment, likes and dislikes, which the sense organs have, comes by default. But even default has some reason behind, deep inside our past impression, our hollowness, our sense of incompleteness inside. Other people say the mind colors our first mind has a thought, then thought is colored by the emotion of like and dislike, and then we create an anxiety and duality in our life. What to do? What should we do? We have understood. Answer is very simple, dating with the real self. I don't know the real self. That is where the journey begins. You start dating with the real self, eyes are closed, and you are looking deep inside. I want to know who am I. Masters have taught me that this real self is of the nature of permanent peace, happiness, love, wisdom, truth. It cannot be falsified. So I'm thinking it cannot be falsified. Why should I react or attach to anything outside that can easily be falsified, limited? So we start thinking and dating with the real self. That's what we have been talking since the beginning of a session. What to do? So after all, your mind is thinking. Make a right choice to think. Let me start thinking about dating with the real self instead with the, oh, the noise is disturbing me. This is also a thought, isn't it? Or it is different. It is also a thought. Without thought, you cannot have those feelings. Okay. So, the presence of anyone or thinking of anyone that causes a reaction in my mind, I should stop it. I should start thinking differently. Am I clear? You think you are wise, you are intellectual, you are a thinker. So I'm simply saying, why should I think this way, which causes me the problem? Why should not I think this way that will take me to a little relaxation and calmness and start thinking? How simple. I'm telling you the most simple thing. Let us start thinking about an apple, then a orange. This is what I'm saying. I'm not saying anything very typical, complex. So, first step is this. So, let me think. And think means dating with the real self by thinking, by speaking, by acting. I will think in a particular way that will not bring any thought pertaining to attachment, detachment, anxiety, reaction. Can I be aware of this fact in this statement? Is it so difficult? After all, I'm thinking all the time. Mind is constantly thinking. So, what happens? The heart colors those thoughts, takes over your mind, then you stop thinking in a right way. What we do, we ask you to think in a right way first before you start doing the practice. We are attached with something that causes the problem in my life. So I should leave that attachment. The moment that person comes to my mind, I say, let me date with the self. That object comes to my mind that is causing the habitual impulsive pattern. Let me start dating with the self. Means I start thinking, 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 thinking. One more subtle point to be understood here. Can we ask a question? What is the location of attachment and detachment that causes obsession, greed, and reaction, anxiety, stress, pain, suffering? What is that location of raga and dvesha? Location of attachment and detachment that causes the delusion and ultimately leads to greed, reaction, anxiety, stress, pain, suffering. What is that location? Is the location of my anxiety and stress outside in that object or is it within me? It is simple to locate. We make a mistake that the location of my anxiety and stress is outside in that object, in that person. This is the greatest delusion. Even the genius forgets this. We have to remember this. That is what the Eastern wisdom is teaching us. We forget completely. We are highly intellectual. We rationalize. And I remember she is with me still doing some sessions. She has a tremendous anxiety and a reaction. So I recall that there are a lot of research studies done on thousands of people who are suffering from anxiety disorders. They their research studies suggested that those who live in chronic anxiety and stress and mental disorders have 27% higher IQ than ordinary people. So you have a higher IQ than ordinary people who don't have the anxiety, chronic anxiety, and the stress. That is 100% clear, proved by the science. But that intellect is still contemplating and thinking about the anxiety and reaction and locating the cause of the anxiety is outside. That is the biggest problem. Are you getting it? It is proven. I studied a lot of research papers and I smiled. I said, "Oh, now I understand." People come to me with anxiety and reaction. They put forth their argument to stay with the object of anxiety, to stay with the huh, person who is whom they feel is the cause of their suffering. Are you getting? I'm attached. I want to detach myself. I'm attached. So I gave 100 reasons because now I live in higher IQ. My friend, can you drop this IQ? Who is constantly thinking about the object, location, that location of anxiety, stress, feeling is coloring by the heart because of likes and dislikes, because of attachment and detachment. What should I do? First, I should start changing the thinking pattern. Thinking for what? Dating with the real self. Imagine there is a real self located in the heart, behind the mind, behind all those thoughts. Even you start thinking like this, you will see you are not giving a fuel to the fire of your attachment and detachment. And you will see there is a sense of calmness comes. So, when we use the word satsang or dating with the real self, why shouldn't I get attached with the real self? We have understood the location. So, the entire journey means that I should not invite any thought without understanding. I should not invite any thought with the feeling that is causing anxiety to me. It is so simple. So now I realize if I constantly think about a person whom I divorced or the object that I don't like and still it is lying in my home, I have to get rid of this thought process. I should not, in the first instance, should not get rid of that object, should not get rid of that person. Did I tell you a couple? I met them, and after a few years, I heard that the women divorced legally. Legal papers have no meaning because if your attachment and detachment continues, reaction, anxiety, suffering will continue. So she invited me. So the first session, oh, very good, very good. Come, thank you. I have heard a lot about you. Very good. So she said, let me take a cup of coffee. I said, very good. No problem. I'll spend more time. You booked me for 1 hour. 10 minutes gone. And we were sitting at the back of their house with a glass door and a backyard garden like yours. So she said, I need another 5 minutes. I said, very good. Why should I get into anxiety? Then she had smoked 3 cigarettes in 5 minutes. Then she came. Now I am ready. Then I gave her just 10 minutes of relaxation and she moved her body 200 times in 10 minutes. Not because the body is not ready, but because of the mind. So I had, I think, 3 and 4 sessions. Then I said, I'm sorry, I cannot help you because you don't want to change your thinking in all the 3 sessions. So after 10 minutes, he moved her body 200 times and she got up. She said, it is a very difficult practice. I said, did I say you to do anything? No, you didn't say me. You simply said to follow the instructions, and it is totally a passive practice. She did not. Then, for half an hour, she told me a story with extreme detachment, reaction, the ideas of criticizing, and how bad my husband was. And it continued for the 3 sessions. I said, no, I cannot help you. I'm sorry. So every time, coffee, smoke, 10 minutes of the practice, no. And then she spoke the entire time rather than she allowed me to speak. But when you speak, you have those thoughts in your mind. Those thoughts are totally obsessed with your husband, and you have extreme reaction. You colored your heart even after divorce when the person is too far. Location, location of our anxiety and the stress is deep inside our heart. We cannot approach the heart directly, but by thinking, by change in thinking, we can change. We can definitely change our thinking pattern.
And what do you mean by incomplete? So you
And
said
for
that.
incompleteness, yes, that is also very good. I am complete in myself. Means what? There is no demand for anything outside. When there is no demand, there is neither an attachment, there is neither detachment. There is neither like, there is nor dislike. I'm complete in myself. I'm complete in myself. This noise cannot disturb me because I'm complete in myself. This guy cannot disturb me because I'm complete in myself. Because I'm complete in myself, even if you appreciate, it does not boost my ego. I simply say thank you. I'm complete in myself. Water is complete in itself, isn't it? You make it, put it dust, you make it impure, and still you can separate water from the dust, isn't it? Unattached. Do you see that? You are with yourself means dating with the real self. Are you? I am complete with myself. Completeness, sense of completeness kills the hollowness. removes anxiety. Anxiety is only because with reference to some object or a person outside. Are you getting it? You look at me and you say yes. I nay, just let me reverse. I look at you, you have beautiful eyes. So whether my mind is thinking, I don't have those eyes which you have, is a sense of incompleteness, isn't it? I don't have. That's why I like your beautiful eyes. That's why every time you come, I always look at your eyes instead of paying attention to the talk. Example. Then what happens? Continuity creates a liking. Liking means what? Sense of incompleteness. Clear? Now see the other side. I hate you. Example. Again, this is an example. So, sense of completeness. Because I hate you, so I react against you every time you come before me, or I react against the noise. Why I react against the noise? Because I feel a sense of incompleteness. If the noise is not there, then I will be feeling completeness. So, again, in a negative way, I am attached to something outside. Sense of completeness. We experience that sense of completeness in deep sleep. There is no thought, or I don't recognize any thought. Are you clear? If that happens at the unconscious level, when there is no thought, I feel the sense of completeness, and indeed, once I return from the deep sleep, I experience so much of calm and the peace. If that is possible, it means it is 100% possible during the day also. So, my dear friend, dating with the self is the very first part of the step one. Dating with the real self starts with the thinking that when you start thinking and dating with the real self, it will change the thinking thought pattern in your mind, which is causing the anxiety. And these thoughts will ultimately enter into the heart with the pure emotion and the feeling, and the journey